Buongiorno.
No.
Okay. Anyway, I was trying new things. She didn't want to go there. All right, there's an Italian shoe. That's why I said that. And I'm Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Meaghan with Believe in the Run.
And today we're talking about the Diadora Atomo Star. You know, before we even get started, I think that we should cover a little something. I mean, the price is going to be the first thing that when we post this that anybody ever talks about. Yes, the price is $240, Meg.
It is $240 US, not made in the US. There's a little tag.
This says made in Italy.
Made in Italy.
And that's part of the thing that makes this shoe a different price. And before, because like a lot of times we get comments, people are like, oh, this shoe, that shoe. I don't know why people think that across the board, all shoes cost the same amount of money. So when Diadora puts a shoe together like this, they're actually manufacturing this in their facility in Italy. It's a different labor cost. It's a different number of shoes they're making. You're not making the same as that you would make from Nike, or the same that when Adidas puts a shoe out there, like making thousands of shoes. They're still probably making a couple thousand of these, but it's not going to be in the same number that some of the bigger brands are making. You're paying a premium for that special design from Italy, from being manufactured in Italy by hand, by craftsmen, but it's not a mass production, hence a more expensive shoe. And look, if you don't want to spend $240 on a shoe, you don't have to. You can stop watching this video right now and move on. We can tell you tons of shoes that are in the 150 and below range, shoes that are on sale that you can get. But this one, it's not a super shoe. There's no plate in it. There's my disclaimer.
Let's get into it.
Let's start with the upper, Meg.
Yeah, so you have a mesh upper here with a decent amount of overlays and kind of a lot going on. It's very padded throughout the collar and heel. The tongue is super padded, and on step-in, it feels very plush.
That's the whole thing behind this shoe. This is a comfort shoe. The tongue is thickly padded. Is that a word?
Yeah, thickly.
Yeah, thickly.
Sounds weird now.
Yeah. The tongue is padded. There's plenty of padding in the collar of the shoe and the heel counter. And even the step-in, this has a unique midsole here that has like different zones in it. So you get a little bit of arch support. There's a little extra button of cushioning even underneath this thing.
It is a button.
Everything about this shoe is comfortable.
I would have to agree. It also has a gusseted tongue. I had no hot spots. It fit true to size for the most part. I will say it felt a little bit short. And for me, Diadora shoes have always tended to feel long. So I feel like this is a different last than I'm used to with Diadora. I think this one is more true to size than some of the previous versions, but it did feel like pretty snug, short. It fit, but just a little bit snugger.
All right. Mine felt true to size. I had no issues with the length, so I don't know what Meaghan's dealing with there. When we get into the shoe, we did have a question because someone asked me, is it narrow? It's not narrow, it's not wide, it's just kind of that standard shape. I don't know where they got the information that they felt someone had said it was narrow. In my experience, it fits pretty standard.
Yeah, and I tend to have a wider foot, and it was comfortable for me, so no issues.
So let's get down to this midsole, Meaghan.
The Anima N2, as Diadora calls it, it's a supercritical midsole foam, and you get quite a bit of it. So 40 millimeters in the heel, 34 in the forefoot for a 6 millimeter drop.
Yeah, so this is where the shoe, I thought, kind of stood out and had a little different feel than some of the other shoes that we've run in. It's got a really nice cushion while still feeling energetic. I wouldn't call it a shoe that you're going to go out there and do speed work in, but it definitely has that cruising feel to it. And this is definitely one of those shoes that if I had that long, slow distance, this shoe's going to feel good the whole ride.
Yeah, and Diadora is calling this a super trainer. For me, this falls more into the max cushion shoe, kind of like you were just describing. This shoe feels great for those really easy days, those long runs. The cushioning is soft and forgiving, but it also does have a little bit of that like responsive bounce. So if you did want to pick up the pace on a longer run, it feels good for that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they called it a super trainer. Typically what we think of in super trainer is when you're taking your premium materials and dropping them down into a daily trainer. So you're taking those race day foams, or you're taking those plates, where you're taking the other things that we associate with race day and bringing it into the trainer form. There's no plate in this. It's just a solid thing of Anima foam. It actually kind of reminded me more closer to like a Bondi than a lot of other shoes.
Yeah, and then you have some decent rubber coverage on the bottom. But other than that, it's simplistic in its build, although it does look like a lot happening just from the design of the shoe. It is pretty simple in that you've got a nice mesh upper and a big slab of foam.
It definitely grew on me. When I first saw the shoe, I wasn't sure if I was really into the look. It kind of almost looked a little more basketball shoe styling, but the more I wore it, the more I liked it. And I really did start to enjoy the way the shoe looked. And I think it kind of splits people. Some people, when we put the pictures up, were really into it. Other people weren't so sure. I have to say, on the foot and when you're running, the shoe feels great.
The looks, there's something about the aesthetic that doesn't look as expensive as these materials clearly are. Like when you're holding the shoe and you're feeling all of these materials, this is a quality built shoe with quality materials. But looking at it, it doesn't necessarily give you that feel.
I think what you're looking at is these like faux suede overlays that are very flat.
Gold spray paint.
Maybe the gold spray paint. That didn't really do it for me. But it does have a very flat look on it. I also think that's some of the limitations of building a shoe in their facility using their materials. But overall, when I first saw it, I would kind of agree with you. But as I've gotten more familiar with the shoe, the more I liked it.
Yeah, I think I have probably close to 30, 35 miles on this shoe now. And it's one of those that it sat in the box for a little while because I wasn't excited about it.
And it was on embargo, so there was like not a rush.
But as soon as I started wearing it, I found myself wanting to lace it up after each run again. So it's a good shoe.
What shoes would you compare it to?
I think your comparison to the Bondi is good. I would put it in there with like any of those Max cushion shoes.
What about the Glycerin Max?
The Glycerin Max is a very comparable shoe.
So the Glycerin Max is hitting that $200 range. So it's right in, I think that's where I started to feel like, okay, it's in competitive range at that. Now it's more, but you're going to get the same sensation, same use. That shoe's been very popular. People have liked it. This has that energetic midsole like that shoe. And for my size 10.5, it weighs 10.6 ounces or 300 grams. So that's kind of on the lighter side for a Max cushion shoe.
Yeah, my women's 7.5 came in at 8 ounces or 227 grams. So not the lightest shoe, but again, like you're saying, for a bunch of stack and a Max cushion shoe, it's pretty good. Fit, form, and function. Out of 5, what are you going? Sorry, form, fit, function. All right. What are you going for form?
I like the design. I like the overall shoe. The looks definitely play into it for me. Like I said, I warmed up to it. Once I did, I really like this shoe.
So a 4 out of 5? I think I'm going to agree. Like the looks, I'm still iffy on, but otherwise, I liked it.
Right. And typically you like a white shoe.
Yeah, but there's a lot other stuff happening.
For fit, I'm going to give it a 3. It's right there, pretty average. There's nothing that like blew me away with the fit or turned me off. So 3, I think, is pretty much middle of the ground. I like the gusseted tongue, cushion around the collar. Like I said, it's very built for comfort.
Yeah, I agree. The comfort level is there. The only issue I had, and I mentioned this earlier, it felt a little short to me. I just wanted maybe a little bit more room for my toes to spread out, but otherwise, good.
All right, let's go to function.
All right, out of 5, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 3 again. It's solid there in the middle. I don't think it's as versatile as it could be. If it was just rated as a Max cushion shoe, I probably might knock it up a little higher. But for a daily trainer, I think it does a lot. It does it pretty well. I like the energy return. So yeah, right there in the middle.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we also factor price into this category. So it is on the higher end. And for that reason, I think we got to stick it right in the middle with the 3.
All right, so final score for the Atomo Star
is a 10 out of 15. So solid daily trainer. We're putting this in the Max cushion bucket here. I know they're calling it a super trainer. But yeah, it's a solid shoe. It's a comfortable shoe. You've got premium materials here.
So for me, this is definitely the shoe that's going to be for someone who wants something that's a little more maybe elevated
Mhm.
and you're not going to be able to see it on everybody's feet. And it's something that kind of sets you apart. So the same person that's maybe going for some of those smaller brand apparel companies that we're seeing come up in the running culture, this shoe kind of is a statement piece, but it also performs really well.
All right.
All right, so that takes care of this review. And if you want to read more about it, you can check it out on believeintherun.com. Also, we have 2 podcasts.
The Drop and Fuel for the Soul with Meaghan Featherson. You can check those out wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can find us on social. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and we have a Strava Club.
Yep. And one last thing, if you want to subscribe to the weekly newsletter, pretty good. It has all of our reviews, all of our written and video reviews, all neatly organized for you, as well as an editorial comment from our guy, Robbie. And you can check that out weekly. If you subscribe, go to believeintherun.com. You'll get a pop-up, subscribe, and you get 1 email a week.
That's it.
All right.